Welcome to Breaking the Eggs, and today I've got another question for you. And it's probably a familiar question. It's come up before on the Storytel discussion list online. I was trying to search for when it took place, probably sometime late last year, but it's really hard to find a discussion about storytelling when every post on that list is about storytelling. Anyway, here's the question. Which would you rather see? A great storyteller tell a mediocre story, or a mediocre storyteller tell a great story? And I want to share with you an experience I had recently. I was at a storytelling festival. And in American storytelling festivals, you often have performers have to squeeze their material into 10 minutes. And sometimes you don't get the best material in a 10-minute section. Sometimes you do. In this case, I just wanted to compare two performers I saw over the course of a weekend. Each of these performers had at least a quarter century of experience. So they are at the top of their game. They know how to work a crowd. And it was a storytelling festival, so it was a storytelling crowd. They were in their element. And they both told these 10-minute stories. The first one told what turned out to be a joke. The story, we were following along what's going to happen next, and you get to the end, and there's a punchline. I actually knew it was coming. I'd heard the joke before, but, I was following along with the story. The second teller was telling a story from their lived experience. It was a personal memoir, and it was an experience a lot of people in the crowd had. I saw people nodding in recognition. It's something I was familiar with. But at the end of 10 minutes, I thought, okay, well, you just shared something from your life that's common to all of our lives, so why'd you tell it? Just kind of thought, But for me, where am I going with this? So in these two cases, we had great performers telling mediocre stories. I know there's the opposite. At an event like an open mic night, or perhaps a pub session, or a living room, or a swap group, you might have a mediocre performer, one who's still learning or has no intention of becoming a performing artist, but who's sharing a story, and the story might be really compelling. So my question is, which do you prefer? The great storyteller telling a so-so story, or the mediocre performer telling a great story? For me, I think one thing is context matters and your expectations matter. And your personal preferences. At the storytelling festival, I happen to like jokes better than I like personal memoir as a genre, just in general. So the personal memoir story didn't engage me. The joke, even though it was a joke, I'm like, okay, I just spent 10 minutes listening to a joke. I really enjoyed the journey to the punchline. And I also think that when the flip side is around, when you know what I mean, the other way, I think part of the appeal of the Moth and Porchlight and the Stoop and Speakeasy, all these real story performances that are so popular, I think part of the appeal is the authenticity you get. You know you're coming to hear a real story, and in some cases, they're asked to tell the most important story or the best story they know. They don't have a big repertoire, so they're telling their best story. And they might not be a polished performer, but they're going to tell a story that we want to really hear. It's really interesting. So, I think my personal preference, I prefer hearing a great story, regardless of the level of talent of the performer, because the story will stick with me. And if it's an open mic, or a swap group, or an amateur session, I'm not there to hear the best performance or see the best performance. I'm here to hear a story, and that's what I get. But when I go to a big event and shelled out the bucks, see someone on stage bring their A material, that's a little different. I expect then I get disappointed if the material's not Oh, I lost it. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so you've heard from me. Now it's your turn to respond. Feel free to leave a comment down below on the blog or on YouTube if you're watching it there. You're welcome to leave a video response. Until next time, I'm Tim for Breaking the Eggs.